The halls of the Zephyr station were eerily silent, the kind of silence that made every footstep sound like a cannon. Commander Rylan Cade tightened his grip on the railing as he scanned the observation deck. Something was wrong. Very wrong. "Sir," whispered Lieutenant Moravex, her voice trembling, "the containment sector, it's empty." Ryland's eyes narrowed. "Empty? That's impossible." The human child was under maximum security. He could feel the tension vibrating through the station like a low hum. The child, small, fragile, and seemingly harmless, was more than it appeared. Rumors among the senior officers whispered about the child's latent abilities. No one had confirmed them, but even the thought was enough to make Ryland's blood run cold. Suddenly, a loud klaxon pierced the air. Red lights bathed the walls in a hellish glow. "Security breach in progress," the automated voice intoned. "All personnel report to stations." Mora grabbed Ryland's arm. "We're too late. Someone's already." Her words cut off as a shudder rolled through the station, knocking consoles askew. Ryland steadied himself and lunged toward the nearest terminal. The logs displayed a single line: unauthorized extraction, human child removed, unknown vessel departed. He stared at the screen. "You idiot!" he muttered under his breath. "Who would?" Then it hit him. A dozen possibilities, all worse than the last. Whoever took the child knew exactly what they were doing. And if the child fell into the wrong hands? Well, Mora's earlier fear was understatement. An explosion rocked the outer docking bay, shaking the observation deck violently. Ryland grabbed Mora and dove behind a console just as debris flew past. When the dust settled, the bay doors hung open, swinging slowly in the vacuum. "Do you realize what this means?" Ryland shouted, his voice barely audible over the alarms. "You stole a human child, and now we all die." Mora shook her head, wide-eyed. "But it's just a child. How could—" Ryland cut her off. "Not just a child. Not to them. This child carries something. Something they want. Something that could change the galaxy." Outside, through the jagged edge of the broken bay door, a small ship streaked past the station. Its markings were unfamiliar, alien, almost predatory in design. Ryland felt an icy dread creep into his chest. Whoever was piloting that vessel had planned this for months, maybe years. He slammed his fist on the console. "We have to follow them. We have to get the child back." Mora nodded, trying to steady her breathing. "But the engines, they're offline. We can't reach them in time." Ryland's gaze hardened. "Then we'll fix them, whatever it takes." The station's AI, a cold, calculating presence, chimed in. "Warning. Vessel trajectory indicates a jump to the carry-on rift. Probability of interception, less than 2%. Ryland clenched his teeth. 2% isn't zero. That's all we need. As the alarms continued to scream, he allowed himself a fleeting glance at the last known location of the child on the terminal. There was a small, trembling image, a human boy, no more than 10 years old, sitting in the back of a metal crate, eyes wide with fear. And yet, there was something else in those eyes. Something older. Something dangerous. Ryland felt a cold realization sink in. He whispered, almost to himself, "A single human child could destroy us all." Mora's voice brought him back. "Sir, what do we do?" Ryland stared at the fading image on the screen. "We go after them. And if we fail," his hand tightened around the console, "then we all die." The alarms reached a deafening pitch. Outside, the void of space stretched endlessly, dark and unforgiving. And somewhere out there, the child, the key to the survival of everything, was slipping further away. Rylan made his choice. He didn't know if they'd survive. But he knew one thing: they couldn't fail. And with that, the first step in a desperate chase across the stars began. Rylan Cade and Mora Vex worked frantically in the damaged engine bay. Sparks flew from exposed conduits, and the hum of failing systems filled the cramped room. Every second counted. "Rylan," Mora shouted over the clamor, "if we don't get the jump drives online, that vessel will be gone before we even leave the station." Rylan wiped sweat from his brow. I know. He slammed his hand against the power regulator. Come on, come on. Finally, with a shuddering roar, the engines lit. The Zephyr station's small pursuit craft shuddered as energy pulsed through its systems. Red lights dimmed to amber. Mora exhaled. We're good. We can follow them." Rylan didn't answer. His gaze was fixed on the holomap displaying the alien ship's trajectory. The path led directly into the Carrion Rift, a volatile sector of space no human had ever navigated safely. It was a place of chaotic gravity waves and unpredictable temporal distortions, perfect for escaping pursuers. Why would they take a human child here? Mora asked quietly, more to herself than to him. Rylan's jaw tightened. Because if what we've feared is true, it's not just about the child. It's about the weapon hidden inside him. Something older than any of us. Mora swallowed hard. You really think a child could destroy entire worlds? Rylan's face was grim. I've seen what humans can do when they're pushed. But this is different. This child isn't just human. He's something else entirely. The pursuit craft shuddered as they entered the outer edges of the rift. Space twisted and shimmered around them, stars stretching and bending like reflections in water. Mora gripped the console, her knuckles white. There! Rylan pointed. The alien ship streaked ahead, a predator in the void. Its sleek, obsidian hull shimmered under the rift's chaotic light, perfectly adapted to the deadly currents of space. Mora's eyes widened. They're not slowing down. If we don't close the gap, we'll never catch them. Rylan activated the graviton boosters. The small ship lurched forward, straining against the unnatural currents. Hold on. We're going in. The rift tore at them like a living thing, twisting space and time. Rylan could feel the ship vibrating under them, the metal groaning against impossible stresses. The alien vessel, however, navigated with ease, almost as if it were part of the rift itself. Mora's voice broke through the tension. Rylan, we're approaching the inner edge. Gravity anomalies are spiking. If we get caught in one. Rylan cut her off. We don't have a choice. We follow. We must get that child back. As they hurtled deeper into the rift, strange visions appeared outside the viewport, fragments of stars stretching into impossible shapes, echoes of events that hadn't happened yet. Mora gasped. It's like the universe is broken here. Rylan didn't respond. He couldn't. Every fiber of his being was focused on the vessel ahead. And then he saw it, a glimpse of the child inside. The human boy, sitting upright in the alien craft, eyes wide and glowing faintly. The crate surrounding him pulsed with light, almost alive. Mora froze. Rylan, his eyes, there. Powerful, Rylan finished. His gut twisted. And dangerous. This is what they were after. Whatever they stole, it's not just him. They want the force inside him. The alien ship suddenly twisted, diving into a gravity current. The Zephyr craft followed, barely keeping pace. The rift seemed to fight them, tossing them violently as if it had a mind of its own. Rylan gritted his teeth. "Mara, I need the shields up. Now!" The console beeped, lights flashing. "Shields at maximum capacity," Mara replied, her fingers dancing over the controls. "But if the alien ship attacks, then we fight." "We can't let them escape with the child," Rylan said, voice cold. Outside, the alien vessel's lights flickered like eyes, scanning, calculating. And then, almost in unison, the crate containing the child glowed brighter, as if responding to their presence. Rylan's heart sank. He's waking up, and if he's aware of them, then nothing will stop what's coming. Mara's face turned pale. "What do you mean?" Rylan didn't answer. He didn't need to. The rift around them was alive with danger. The alien ship ahead was a predator, and the human child, the smallest, most fragile being in the galaxy, was the most terrifying force either of them had ever faced. The chase had only just begun. The alien vessel twisted through the carry-on rift like a shadow hunting prey. Rylan Cade's small pursuit craft struggled against the violent gravitational currents, sparks flying from stressed hull plating. Every moment they drew closer, the sense of danger intensified. Mara Vex's voice broke the tense silence. "Rylan, I'm seeing fluctuations in the crate's energy field around the child. It's reacting to us." Rylan's jaw tightened. "I hoped we wouldn't trigger it this soon." The human boy's eyes glowed faintly now, pale blue against the dim interior of the crate. He was trembling, but there was a strange calm beneath it, an awareness beyond his years. And then, just as the alien vessel dove into another gravity eddy, the crate pulsed violently, sending shock waves through the surrounding air and rattling their ship's hull. What is he doing?" Mara shouted, gripping her console. Rylan's eyes widened. "He's defending himself." A massive wave of energy erupted from the crate, tearing through the space around the alien vessel. Its sleek hull groaned, shields flaring, systems sparking under the strain. The ship shuddered violently, almost thrown from the rift's currents. Mara stared in disbelief. That child, he just pushed them back. Rylan's mind raced. It's more than strength. He's manipulating the rift itself. That's why they took him. He's a weapon. The alien ship immediately recalibrated, its hull cracking with energy pulses as it tried to escape the child's influence. Red lights flickered across the ship's interior, revealing silhouettes of the alien crew. They were tall, sinewy, and unmistakably lethal, moving with terrifying precision to restrain their prisoner. Rylan clenched the control stick. "We have to board them. We can't let them keep him. If we lose the child, everything dies." Mara swallowed. "You realize that could mean suicide, right?" He didn't answer. He already knew. Using the rift's chaotic gravity currents, Rylan maneuvered their craft alongside the alien vessel. He activated the grappling hooks and magnetic clamps, latching onto the ship's hull. The small craft shook violently as it struggled to hold position. "Suit up," Rylan ordered. "We go in now. Don't let him see us until we're inside." They climbed into armored suits, weapons locked, and slid through the airlock into the vacuum between the two ships. The alien hull was cold, slick, and humming with an otherworldly energy. As they approached the crate, the boy's eyes met Rylan's. There was no fear, only an uncanny understanding. Mara whispered, "He knows we're here. He knows what we're about to do." Before Rylan could respond, the crate pulsed again. The energy rippled outward, and the air around them shimmered like liquid metal. They stumbled but held on, gripping the hull. The boy's glow intensified, and for a split second, time itself seemed to slow, the the stars stretching like silver ribbons around them. Then came the first wave of alien resistance. Sinewy limbs struck out from the shadows, wielding weapons that shimmered with plasma. Rylan fired his pulse rifle, cutting through one attacker, while Mara deflected another with her energy shield. The boy's crate floated slightly above the deck, lifting off its restraints. He was no longer passive. He was awake, aware, and fully responding to the alien threat. Every movement the aliens made was met with a counterwave of energy that sent them skidding across the floor. Rylan shouted over the roar, "We need to get him out. Now!" Mara nodded, activating the crate's interface. "I can override the containment protocols, but only if he trusts us." The boy's eyes flickered between them, measuring, analyzing. And then, with a subtle nod, he allowed the interface to respond to Mara's commands. The crate unlocked with a hiss, releasing him into their control. The aliens shrieked, lunging again, but the boy raised his hands. A pulse of energy erupted, throwing the attackers back and slamming them into the walls. The vessel itself groaned, sparks and fire erupting along its hull. Rylan grabbed the boy. "Hold on. We're getting out of here." As they raced toward the airlock, the ship shuddered violently. The rift's currents clawed at it, tearing chunks of hull away. Mara fired at pursuing aliens, buying them seconds. The boy clung to Rylan, energy crackling faintly around his small frame. Finally, they breached the airlock. The alien ship began to collapse in on itself, energy tearing through its core as the rift consumed it. Rylan's craft shot forward, engines screaming, carrying them safely away as the alien vessel imploded into the void. Breathless, Mara looked at the boy. "Who? What are you?" The boy looked back at her, eyes calm, unervingly mature. "I am human," he said simply. Rylan shook his head. "Not just human. And now, we have to understand what you can do. Because if they weren't the only ones after you." The boy's gaze turned distant. They weren't. Outside, the carry-on rift stretched endlessly, chaotic and alive, as if it knew a new force had awakened within its depths. And somewhere in that infinite darkness, more hunters were already moving, drawn to the child who could destroy worlds. The small pursuit craft drifted in the dead silence of space beyond the carry-on rift. Rylan Cade kept his hands tight on the controls, though the boy, quiet, unervingly calm, sat between him and Mara Vex, his glowing eyes scanning the void like a predator sizing up the next target. Mara broke the silence first. "Rylan, he's not just a weapon. He's a storm. Something beyond comprehension." Rylan didn't answer immediately. His mind raced. The alien vessel had been just the first wave. Whoever had sent it, whoever had wanted the child, they wouldn't stop. The child's energy signature was broadcasting across the rift, a beacon no predator in the galaxy could ignore. "They're coming," Rylan muttered, almost to himself. Suddenly, the sensors lit up. Multiple vessels emerging from the rift's currents, ships unlike anything humans had catalogued. Sleek, black, with pulsating energy cores that echoed the child's own aura. The child stirred, his small hands glowing brighter. "They know we have him," Mara said, fear lacing her voice. "And they're not asking, they're taking." Rylan's jaw tightened. "We can't outrun them. We'll have to fight." The first vessel struck like a blade through space. Energy beams lanced past the pursuit craft, tearing away hull plating. Rylan yanked the controls, evading, but the ships were too many, too coordinated. The boy's energy flared in response. Waves of raw force radiated outward, throwing the alien ships off course, but it wasn't enough. "He can't hold them back forever," Mara shouted. Rylan gritted his teeth. He doesn't have to. He just has to survive. We need to reach the Veil Station. The Veil Station, an ancient, fortified outpost on the edge of uncharted space, was humanity's last safe point in this sector. But even reaching it required passing through a gauntlet of the alien hunters. The child stirred, his calm unsettling. "I can stop them," he said softly, voice like wind through metal. "But it will cost everything." Ryland's heart tightened. "What do you mean?" The boy didn't answer, just extended his hands. Energy erupted outward in a sphere that warped the very fabric of the rift. Alien ships were thrown back, hulls cracking, engines failing. The glow intensified, illuminating the interior of the pursuit craft, painting Rylan and Mara in a ghostly light. Mara gasped. "He's destroying them with what?" "His mind." The boy's voice was steady, almost serene. "I'm defending everything. But if I push harder, the rift will collapse." Rylan understood instantly. The rift itself was alive, a dangerous and unstable current in space. If the child overextended, the shock wave would destroy not just their pursuers, it could annihilate entire systems. "Stop!" Rylan shouted. "You can't." But the boy had already made his choice. A pulse of energy tore outward like a supernova, obliterating the pursuing fleet. Ryland's craft shuddered violently, the hull straining against the pressure. Mara clung to her seat as the rift itself twisted and roared, stars stretching into impossible shapes. When the energy faded, silence returned. The alien fleet was gone. The child sat quietly, small, fragile, glowing faintly, as if nothing had happened. Rylan exhaled shakily. He did it." Mara's voice was trembling. "All of them gone. Just like that. But what about the systems nearby?" Rylan shook his head. "That's the risk. We've only delayed them. Others will come. And next time, he might not be able to hold them off." The child looked at them, eyes calm, almost weary. "I will try," he said simply. Rylan glanced at the stars stretching across the viewport. "Try. There's no trying here. If we fail, everyone dies." The pursuit craft set course for Veil Station, the boy in their custody. But Rylan knew, as he watched the faint glow of energy emanating from the child, that the galaxy was changing. Humanity had stumbled upon something ancient, something terrifying, and now everyone would pay the price. And somewhere, beyond the edges of the rift, other hunters stirred, drawn to the child who could destroy worlds. The reckoning had only just begun. Veil Station loomed ahead like a fortress against the stars, a jagged silhouette of metal and energy shielding. Rylan Cade's pursuit craft limped through the outer defenses, the child's faint glow illuminating the cockpit. Moravec's hands shook on the controls, but neither dared speak. Silence carried the weight of what was coming. "They're here," the station's AI intoned, calm and mechanical. Sensors lit up with dozens of incoming vessels. Not just one fleet, multiple waves, converging from every direction. The alien hunters had regrouped, learned, and now they were coming with a vengeance. Rylan's jaw clenched. "Brace yourselves. There's no room for mistakes." The child sat between them, eerily calm. His eyes glowed brighter as he whispered, "I will stop them, but the cost will be everything." Before Rylan could protest, the first wave of attackers struck. Energy beams tore across space, blasting against Veil Station's shields. The child's glow pulsed violently in response. With a subtle gesture, the currents of the rift bent around them. Alien vessels were thrown off course, their energy weapons misfiring. Mara gasped. He's controlling the rift itself. Yes, Ryland said, awe and terror in his voice. But every second he holds it, the strain grows. The child's eyes widened, glowing with an intensity that painted the cockpit in blue-white light. Energy arcs rippled from him, tearing open space around Vale Station. Alien ships were shredded in the void. Entire sections of the rift seemed to fold into themselves, like the universe bending under his will. Ryland realized, with a shiver, the truth. This was not just a defense. This was the power to unmake worlds. The alien fleet surged again, desperate, reckless. Ryland fired their weapons to cover Mara as she attempted to dock with the station. The child's energy flared even higher. Vale Station's outer shields groaned under the strain, flashing with warning signals. "Ryland!" Mara shouted. "If he keeps this up, the station can't hold it." Ryland's eyes met the child's. "You have to stop, or risk everything." The child's small voice rang out, but resolute. "I cannot stop. Not yet. They cannot take me, or humanity dies." A pulse of energy erupted from the child, extending outward like a supernova. Alien ships disintegrated, ripped apart by forces no mind could comprehend. Vale Station quaked violently. Metal bent, energy shields flared, warning sirens screamed. The strain on the station was immense, but Ryland had no choice. They had to survive long enough to guide the boy. In the chaos, Mara reached the docking bay. "We're close. We can get him inside." Ryland maneuvered the craft as the child's energy reached its peak. The hull around them warped and shimmered as if reality itself had become liquid. The boy's eyes locked on the station. With a subtle gesture, he lifted the pursuit craft effortlessly and guided it toward the docking bay. Once inside, he finally allowed himself to collapse, small and fragile again, as though the energy had drained from him. Vale Station's systems hummed, stabilizing under the strain, while Ryland and Mara stared at the boy in disbelief. "You saved everything," Mara whispered. The boy's gaze was distant. "I only delayed them. Others will come." Ryland's fists clenched. "Then we prepare. We train. We make sure no one ever threatens you, or the galaxy again." Outside, the stars were calm once more. But Ryland knew better. Somewhere in the void, alien hunters were regrouping, drawn irresistibly to the child who could destroy worlds. And humanity had just awakened a force older and far more terrifying than anyone could have imagined. The child stirred, small hands glowing faintly again. His eyes met Ryland's. "I am human, but I am not alone. I will protect them. All of them." Ryland nodded, knowing the truth he had felt all along. A single human child, fragile, innocent, and terrifyingly powerful, was the galaxy's last line of defense, and perhaps its doom. The galaxy would never be the same.